In April 2013, the Auditor General released his spring follow-up report. To read the full report and other supplementary documents, please visit our website at www.bcauditor.com. The following presentation provides an overview of the report. As the non-partisan independent auditor of the Legislative Assembly, the Auditor General audits the government reporting entity. This consists of ministries, crown corporations, and other government organizations, such as universities, colleges, school districts, health authorities, and similar organizations that are controlled by or accountable to the provincial government. The Office of the Auditor General serves the people of British Columbia and their elected representatives by conducting independent audits and advising on how well government is managing its responsibilities and resources. Under the Auditor General Act, the Auditor General conducts and reports on both financial audits and performance or value for money audits. The Act also allows the Auditor General to follow up on any recommendations made in reports. Legislators have told the office that it's not enough for the Auditor General to issue recommendations and just hope they'll be acted upon. We share this point of view. Our staff invest considerable time and energy and have pride in their work. We want to know that our efforts are making a difference. Following up is critical to ensure that our work has positive influence and that British Columbians receive full value from our services. So, twice a year we follow up with the organizations we've audited and ask them to provide an update of their progress. Currently, we have 4 forms of follow-up. The first is action plans. Agencies are asked to provide an action plan describing how they will implement the recommendations and by when. If the action plan is not available in time to publish in the report as part of the agency's formal response to the report, we post it on our website alongside the audit report once it is received. The second is self-assessment. Within 6 months to a year after our reports are issued, we ask the audited agency to provide a self-assessment of its progress in implementing our recommendations, as well as their plans going forward. We publish these submissions unedited and in their entirety, so that readers can assess for themselves whether or not progress is satisfactory. To be clear, these are management's representations. While we read each update, and in some cases discuss them with the entity, they are not audited in any way, and we offer no assurance concerning their fairness, completeness, or accuracy. We expect that most recommendations will be cleared in this initial follow-up. Subsequent follow-ups may be required on outstanding recommendations or certain key recommendations that have not been satisfactorily addressed. A third form of follow-up is the progress assessment. This involves examining the organization's self-assessment of all or certain recommendations to confirm their reliability. This report contains the first 2 of such examinations conducted by the office. The fourth form of follow-up is a progress audit. This involves auditing the self-assessments of certain recommendations. We have yet to select any submissions for this level of examination given the extensive resources required to complete this work. The results of progress assessments or audits would also be published in the next follow-up report. This follow-up report contains 20 self-assessments with updates on 92 recommendations. The audited organizations reported that they took action to some extent on 99% of the recommendations. 44 of the recommendations, or 48%, were fully or substantially implemented. 47 of the recommendations, or 51%, had been self-assessed as partially implemented. 1 of the recommendations had no substantial action reported. The office has issued 10 follow-up reports since October 2008. These reports contain self-assessments on 630 recommendations. Of these, 519, or 83%, have been fully or substantially addressed, either through implementation or alternative action. 103 of the recommendations have been partially implemented, or about 16% of the total. No substantial action has been taken on 7 of the recommendations, accounting for 1% of the total. We will continue to follow up on recommendations that are only partially implemented or where no substantial action has been taken, as appropriate. For a list of reports currently in the follow-up stage, please see Appendix B in the report. During this time, the office has consistently signaled our intention to place a selection of these self-assessments under closer scrutiny. This we have now done with the self-assessments provided in August 2012 for 2 projects: Conservation of Ecological Integrity in BC Parks and Protected Areas, and Managing Fraud Risks in Government. For each recommendation, we sought evidence to corroborate the respective ministry's self-assessment of progress. We found that the actions described in the self-assessments prepared by the Ministry of Environment and the Ministry of Finance were largely as described. However, we did not always agree with the self-assessed status. The self-assessment of the Ministry of Environment described their progress against what they had undertaken to do in their response to our original report. In a number of cases, that response was different from what we had recommended, and so their self-assessment does not reflect their progress in implementing the recommendation. As a result, for 3 of the 7 recommendations, we reached different conclusions where progress has been self-assessed as fully or substantially implemented. We concluded that alternate actions had been taken for 2 of recommendations, and that no action had been taken for the 3rd. The Ministry of Finance reported it had fully implemented the single recommendation in the fraud report. While there has been some progress, we concluded that the recommendation has only been partially implemented. Going forward, we intend to conduct further reviews of self-assessments to be included in our biannual follow-up reports. That concludes our summary of this report. To read this report and our other publications, or for more information about our office, please visit our website at www.bcauditor.com. The Office of the Auditor General encourages your feedback on this report as well as your suggestions for further audits. We look forward to hearing from you.